Okay. Terrific.
Great. Perfect. Well, great. Welcome, everybody, and nice to be with you all. I'm Mandy Stewart from NC State University and here to share about the MPA program, the Master of Public Administration. I'm glad to be joining y'all virtually. Even since we made these arrangements, I think the allergies of the season have gotten the best of me, so explaining my voice, but also appreciate just the flexibility to be at home today for that. So again, I direct our MPA program and I'm on faculty in our Department of Public Administration at NC State where I'm an associate professor. I'm going to drop into the chat just a link to our website just so you'll have that as some supplemental information. But I would be curious with this next slide just to hear who's here. If you would share either in the chat or unmute yourself with your name, your current position, and what makes you curious about graduate education. Anybody willing to jump in there or add it to the chat?
Let's see.
Hey, I just wanted to say I tried to type something into the chat and that option was not there for me. I don't know if anybody else can.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
We've got Nicole saying the webinar will start soon. That's her message she's getting now.
Who?
Nicole Hunter.
Okay. It started. I asked people to unmute, so they can unmute, but I don't know about the
chat function.
The chat function. Let me see.
I'm able to unmute now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
This is
great.
Anita. Hey, I'm Anita Narayanan. I'm from the Department of State Treasurer's Office. My current position is I'm an IT Applications Manager, and I'm a current CPM candidate for this year. I'm doing the CPM this year. I already have my Master's of Science. I have my Master of Science from Computer Science and Engineering, but the last 5 years I've moved into management, so more of a administration side of things. So I'm interested to see what this graduate program has to offer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Anita. Others willing to share what makes you curious about a graduate education and who's on the call?
Mandy, can you hear us in the room as well?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jody, Jody Clevin, and I've always been interested in which institutes of higher education around us have similar programs. I don't know if you know, other universities that have similar programs or.
Yeah. No, Jody, absolutely. There's actually a lot of MPA options in our state. I think last count we have 14. So we're a crowded graduate education space. And I'll speak a little bit about what we see as differentiating NC State, but I'll also speak broadly about the MPA degree. So thanks for that. Other curiosities about graduate education and who's in the room with us?
I think we have enough people. If they want to, you can. I'm going to go ahead and let people raise their hands, and I'll invite them to unmute. So I'm going to request that Carolyn, if you'd like to unmute.
Hi, Carolyn.
We're not hearing you, Karen. I see you've got your hand raised and you've got your mute is off. So maybe something locally is keeping you from speaking. Still not hearing anything, Carolyn.
Can you hear me now? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Carolyn Locklear. I'm a grants contract specialist. Previously, I'm a graduate from the CPM program. And
Mhm.
I do have my master's degree and my MPA. I got mine from Strayer University. So I'm just interested to see what a state university MPA program offers different than what I took at Strayer University.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I'm glad to know we yeah, have other MPAs in the room. Great, Caroline. Carrie, you're welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. My name is Carrie Shorts. I am currently with the Department of Adult Correction.
Mhm.
I've worked for multiple agencies over the past 15 years. I'm in the human resources realm,
Mhm.
and the graduate program, specifically the MPA, is something I've been interested in for quite some time. And I only have my bachelor's degree, and I got that 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, I said I'd get my master's, and here we are. And I still don't have a master's. So, when I saw this opportunity pop up today to attend this session, it piqued my interest. So
Great.
I'm curious to see what you have to say.
Yeah, no, thanks, Carrie. And need to know about that wealth of experience you have outside of the classroom. Anyone else want to chime in?
My name is Belinda Preacher.
Yeah.
I do have a master's. I attained that though in when did I graduate? 99. Mine is in engineering though. So it would just be interesting to hear, especially having gone through the CPM program, just to compare for possible next steps. Who knows? We'll see.
Yes.
Who knows? Double master.
No, we'll need to learn and maybe just here too in this question and trying to engage with you all in this virtual environment, that these are some of the lessons we've had from teaching in a COVID and virtual environment of just how do we bridge the virtual space to create engagement across the digital platforms, but also recognizing that folks come to the classes we host and to our degree programs with very tailored interests. So whereas we recruit, we promote our program in a one size fits all or fits most approach, it's also important for us to know, what draws your curiosity so that we can orient the information we share to meet that need. But please also here in my call for questions, call for curiosity and engagement, you're welcome to engage me at any point, either over the chat if you're able, or raise your hand and we'll call on you. But again, Mandy Stewart with NC State. So I'm going to launch into some of our information. First, just talking broadly about what is an MPA, then talking more specifically about our program at NC State, as well as our admission requirements. And then, as I mentioned in some of that responses earlier, that we are a crowded field of education here in our state. That's a gift of a public service orientation, and just the level of graduate expectations for education in our state. So I'll situate how NC State compares as well as what we see as some of our advantages. But again, feel free to interrupt at any time. So first, just to orient to what is an MPA. When we look at what an MPA is, we see it as orientating a student to serve in a career related to the public sector or nonprofits. So we do see a graduate degree as a skills and experience degree to complement the knowledge of a graduate education, as well as a bachelor's degree that was focused more on knowledge rather than skills and techniques, like building out your toolkit is the orientation of an MPA. So when we think about an MPA, we use it as a way to equip people to operate in the public sphere and address issues that address important kind of wicked problems in our society. So really that nexus of analysis and solutions. And so when we compare an MPA with other graduate degrees that we know, usually where a student is also comparing an MPA, but hearing, just some various graduate education already in this classroom. But in our MPA program, we think of it as oriented towards implementation and management, overlaid with public sector values, public service values. Comparatively, the orientation of a Master's of Public Policy is more about design, analysis, as opposed to implementation. A social work degree complements an MPA, but rather than being broadly situated towards public sector issues, a social work degree is more oriented towards health and human service focused issues. A business degree brings about some of those same management skills you get in an MPA classroom, but is more oriented towards a private sector, a for-profit perspective. And then finally, an international studies can bring in some of those same skills, analysis, awareness, but has a different context. So just there offering where an MPA situates in comparison to other graduate degrees that get you those management or get you those public sector orientation, but not with that same combination of implementation and management overlaid with public service values. So as we think about the case for an MPA, it really is drawing upon those public service motivating factors that folks enter into public service work. It's a predisposition to respond to motives that are grounded in public institutions and organizations. It's a desire to serve in the interest of the public. And so that's really what we're drawing upon as a differentiating factor of who's in the classroom of an MPA, is that we can talk about values of effectiveness and efficiency, but overlaid with that service motivation. As we talk about our MPA at NC State, we really draw this focus towards equipping people to be skilled, principled in their decision making and their analysis, and focusing on practical skills. We often hear from our students, from our alumni, that they really value the opportunity to think big picture and also get tactical. We even just heard from an alumni recently who said what she thought differentiated an NC State MPA was that we teach spreadsheets. So just showing that, you get hands-on with our classwork, with our group projects, with our applied assignments. And again, it's emphasizing those public service values along the way. So building out that toolkit and how to interpret those tools in the face of real situations, but being mindful of the values that underlie public service. Also highlighting that we're proud to continue to be highly ranked. Even just today, the U.S. News and World Reports updated their rankings here of public affairs programs, and we maintain a high ranking. Also orient you to the broad landscape of public affairs, public administration, education. And then as a program, as an MPA program, we are accredited by an entity called NASPA. It's a network of public affairs and administration schools. And as a NASPA accredited program, our students all aspire to be competent in these domains of leading and managing, participating and contributing to the public policy process, being able to analyze, synthesize, and solve problems and make decisions, articulate and communicate in a way that reflects public service values, as well as reflects the diverse citizenry that they serve. So just to say, all MPA programs that are accredited by NASPA would be designing their curriculum around these 5 competencies. But NC State's MPA is aiming for these 5 competencies with an overlay of what our mission is, that applied, practical public service values. Again, please feel free to stop me at any point if you've got questions about this landscape of public administration education. I did want to just highlight here when I was looking at materials about what is offered in the Certified Public Manager credential in terms of competencies. You see a strong complement, and that's, just where there's this history of a pipeline between the CPM and our MPA. But again, on the left is those NASPA competencies, and on the right is the Certified Public Manager, getting a little bit more specific in some areas. But you also, again, see that leading and managing, working in organizations, thinking about systems level, policy, organization settings with that overlay of communications and public service value. So again, just seeing the complement of the CPM being a pipeline into that longer form MPA degree. So to get into just some of the granular specifics of our MPA program, we are moving towards being a 36 credit hour program. And on the left, you have what comprises our core curriculum at this point in time. So one is just a high level introduction course to the field of public administration. We then get into some toolkit aspects in terms of public policy processes, the budgetary process, leading and managing in an organization is public organization behavior, as well as more of a skills-based class in management, the management systems course, the analysis and decision-making through research methods, and then communicating oral and written communication in the effective public. And then we bring it all together in a capstone. One factor of graduate education is that you have to have a culminating exercise. So some programs have a thesis project. That's a distinction of Carolina. Some programs have a comprehensive exam where you're like tested on the totality. Again, in that practical applied way, we have a capstone course that is a project-based course for teams to complete, reflecting on the totality of their program curriculum and applying it to some real situations and organizations. So that's our capstone course. And those 8 courses comprise the bulk of our curriculum, 24 credit hours. And then you complement that with elective courses. Just to highlight that with the connection we have with the CPM and with this design around 36 credit hours, we are able to accept a transfer credit of 6 credit hours. So somebody with a CPM enrolling in our master's that's at 36 credit hours, you would only have to complete 30 credit hours. Any questions here? One highlight, and you'll hear me refer to this again several points, but in our program and in graduate education, we make the distinction of pre-service students and in-service students. Pre-service students are students we consider who've come to us straight from an undergrad with limited work experience, or their work experience to date is not the career track they want to be staying on. Just for illustrative purposes, to give you an idea, I just reviewed an admissions application this past cycle for somebody who's been a dog walker. Probably doesn't come to graduate education to remain a dog walker, but he's looking to advance. So even though he has more than 1 year of experience, he would be considered pre-service. So he's required to do an internship while they're with our program. So that is that PA 650, an internship where we provide support and placement and have a strong success of our interns being eventually hired by their host sites. As an in-service person, somebody who's had significant work experience and is likely just wanting to advance their career in a ladder that they're already on, we call you in-service. And so you're not required to do an internship. But what we find in our classrooms, and I can speak to this more as I continue, is that the in-service students value the perspective of our pre-service students, and the pre-service students value the seniority and the perspective of our in-service students. And so it is an amazing hybrid learning environment of a lot of wealth of experience and maybe even just some experience, meeting a more, straight from college, youthful, unjaded by the world or, kind of prior experiences. And so it creates a nice complement in course discussions to have fresh perspectives as well as seasoned perspectives. So just offering what that means over here in the right column with pre-service students. So just some examples of what could comprise those remaining 6 elective credit hours is just a range of courses. This is the courses we've been offering just in this current spring semester, as well as plan for the fall semesters. But you see here just a wealth of both subject matter expertise as well as skill building knowledge. Just recently, we've been doing a survey of our alumni asking what's the skills and experiences they would have used if they, that they are drawing upon in their careers. And it's the technical skills, even like technical skills like GIS or budget management, as well as this subject matter expertise about specific policy areas and domain areas. We also hear where our alumni value the opportunity to engage in teams. To learn across the classroom in an applied way in our courses. But again, these are just some of our recent elective courses. So just to offer some of the, just kind of the technicalities of what graduate education enrollment looks like. Typically our full-time students are the pre-service students. And so folks who are coming to us alongside work responsibilities typically complete our program in 3 to 5 years, enrolling about 2 courses a semester. We offer our classes typically at night and in person. We do have some hybrid and online, but again, one of the things that differentiates us is that we are an in-person class. And speaking again to that, the makeup of our classrooms, we see one of the values that you get in graduate education is your network and who you're in class alongside. Just again, a full-time course load is 9 credit hours, 3 courses. Just to advise, we do find that that's a lot alongside full-time work and family responsibilities. And if you wanted to tailor your degree even more, we do have 2 graduate certificates that you can take alongside an MPA or even separate, a graduate certificate in nonprofits as well as policy analysis. So to talk a little bit about the particulars of getting admitted to our MPA and maybe just to speak broadly about what a graduate education application looks like. At NC State, we do require you to apply through our graduate school and they then route the application to our MPA program. It requires a fee, but we do not have any standardized testing requirements. Along with that fee and application, you share an essay or 2 essays rather, and this is just an example of what they are. But just thinking about how an MPA would advance your career goals, as well as some practical experience you've had with problem solving. We ask for a copy of your resume to understand where this graduate education fits in your trajectory, as well as a copy of a transcript. We have a requirement that there's a 3.0 as a minimum in your undergraduate. There are some provisions we can make based on other attestations of your capacity, like your work experience, but that is a minimum expectation. And if that seems to be a challenge, I'd be happy to have an individual conversation. And then we ask for 3 letters of recommendation. Knowing that some may be in-service students may have a long span, as one of the participants acknowledged, that you can have professional references in lieu of an academic reference, because we understand there might just be some too much of a time lapse to find somebody to contact for that. So it's really just speaking to your capacity, your commitment, your orientation to the rigor of a graduate education. Oh, and here's a comment again. If a transcript or a GPA is below that 3.0, we can have some different routes to admissions. You are able to submit an unofficial transcript because I know it can be hard to find who to contact at an old alma mater, but an official transcript would be required in order to finalize. But you can start your application with an unofficial one. Again, happy to entertain any questions, even personal follow-up if that would be helpful. Again, here's the information about letters of recommendation. I extracted some of this content from some other virtual information sessions we've done, and just distinguishing here that we want them to be affirming letters of recommendation because we've seen a variety in our inboxes. So it's better to confirm somebody wants to write this letter for you. But here's the nitty gritty. We do offer rolling admissions. We have a long window just because even the registrar is really like whatever gets them in the door in time to start fall classes. So we invite consideration of rolling admissions up till mid-June. And then we also have admissions for a winter start to start in January up through mid-fall. So that's just the general parameters. But again, happy to entertain specific questions if this is of interest. Wanted to just speak a little bit to what we say sets ourselves apart and highlighting a little bit about who our alumni are, as well as just to offer an image of see yourself at NC State, with you all being in state entities. About 36%, so a little over a third of our students are from state government positions. And then we round that out with a variety of other profiles and positions held. These are some of our alumni who engage us in an alumni council and just show the diversity of career paths you can pursue with an MPA. So cutting across all domains of higher education, local government, state government, and even private sector consulting. Also, just wanted to highlight a couple pieces that have, thinking about how does an MPA advance you, that we have a strong placement rate following a degree, even for those who are seeking in a position and wanting to advance. We hear back that it was a success. And then we've also surveyed our alumni, and they universally agree that an MPA was helpful to their career goals. And I see the question from Patrick for part-time student, what's the normal number of courses they take at once? It can be as low as 1 to maintain your registration, but you can take 2. And again, that's even structured as 2 nights a week to be on campus. And so if you have your CPM and need 30 credit hours, that would just take you a few years. Two times a semester, 2 semesters a year, that's 4, so you could just do the math to get through the 30 credit hours. Just to offer, one of the things we're even trying to help bring students to campus fewer times, but still get them, 2 classes, is offering a hybrid class, 2 hybrid classes meeting on the same night, so that 1 week you come for one class, the next week you come for the other, and it just alternates. So we're coordinating our faculty to make the program work even easier for working adults who are trying to do this degree alongside other responsibilities, but come to campus even less. So again, just some of the things we say that sets our program apart. We are the only MPA in Raleigh. We have a strong university connection, both in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences where we're situated, but across the university. And we bring the strength of the university to our program in terms of services, connections for research, connections for teaching and capacity. We've got a strong student body. We have our own graduate association of students, but have also a strong alumni network of over 2,000. Like I've mentioned, we are in person in the evening, and we offer both opportunities to connect in and out of the classroom, both social, professional development. We've got 14 full-time faculty, so that makes us have a very low student-faculty ratio. Right now, we have 88 students in the program across several years of registration. And then the final point here, I draw from some research where graduates of MPA program were asked what drove their satisfaction in their degree program. And the resounding agreement was around a measure the researchers called program climate, which, as we looked at the research, we interpret as the support they got. So the support they got from programmatic leadership, from their faculty in their class, from their peers, from the advisors in the program. And just offering that is an indicator we hear back, is how much students feel supported at each step of the way. Again, just a few more details about who's in our program to offer some reflection of, do you see yourself at NC State? Again, our program right now is balanced between these students with younger experience coming out of college or limited work experience alongside seasoned professionals. We have folks back in our classroom who've, got kids out of college and they're coming back for their degree. People you've probably seen in the news who are coming back for their degree, but leading state level entities and coming back to advance their degree. We are strongly a North Carolina program, and we're proud of that. Again, we have the majority of our students are working in state government. And then just highlighting here where we're proud of our alumni and how they fulfill our mission through the positions and the places they serve our state. So that brings me to a close, and I would just offer, if you have specific questions about admissions or what a course load would look like, my colleague Meg Romick, who's our graduate student coordinator, would be engaged with any questions you have. There's my point of contact, as well as we invite you to come to campus. We are wrapping up the semester. NC State keeps pushing the end of the semester earlier and earlier. So we only have like 2 weeks left in our semester, but we'd welcome you to come by and see us right off of Hillsborough Street. I do also see, Reed, we are the only PA doctoral program in the state. We are the only one in the UNC system. We're about to graduate our 100th graduate, so we're really proud of that footprint, have a strong history of alumni serving across academic programs. We actually have alumni in almost every other UNC systems PA program teaching public administration, but we also have just people at all levels of public service.
That sounds like a powerful network.
Yeah, no, it is, and something we're really proud of. Nicole, the cost, are you asking directly about the cost of a PH or the MPA? Okay, I was just running the numbers. Let me just pull that up because I was just looking at that. So the cost of a credit hour is $683.30. I was running some numbers for a contract we're putting together. And if you have the CPM, the total for an MPA, and I'm just going to put it in the chat. And this is, the university would want me to caution, this is current tuition dollars and fees that could raise, but the total cost of 30 credit hours would be $20,000, $20,500. Carolyn, so maybe just let me catch up. Belinda, we do have a PhD in public administration. Currently, our PhD is oriented towards folks who are going into academic or research settings. We do have folks who use the degree for other purposes, but I will attest it trains you heavily in kind of an academic orientation rather than an applied. We are looking at other routes through the PhD program, so if that interests you, stay tuned. And then to Carolyn, we are the only MPA in Raleigh. There are 14 other programs, as close by is UNC Chapel Hill and in North Carolina Central University. And then, from the coast to the mountains, App State to Wilmington to Charlotte, Wake Forest, ECU. So occasionally I hear from folks that they want to go where their like family allegiances. And I would say you could probably find whatever, lettered school you like in North Carolina has an MPA, but we are a strong MPA here in Raleigh. Other questions? Well, like I had shared in the talk, we are really proud of our alumni, and I just wanted to put in the chat a link to a story we just featured about one of our most recent alumni who came to us from a non-traditional path, had a significant work experience, but really wanted that degree to advance. And then we were so proud for how he stepped up and served in his position, but especially with Helene. And so that's a story we just featured, but again, can show you just what an alumni who's walked through the program from a state institution, how he views the merits of our degree. So just highlighting JR to you all, but also as just an example of our alumni.
So there was one other question. I don't know if you saw that, man. Is there a state level financial assistance program or agency level?
It is agency level, is my understanding. We do have tuition waiver for NC State employees, but my understanding is that works at an agency level for other state entities. And thank you, Reed. Well, again, I'm Mandy Stewart, and I'm just going to put my email again in the chat. I sure appreciate the engagement. We do see the strength of our program. And again, I just know from some of my own research how graduate education both equips you for your work, but also helps advance your career goals. So if I can be of any support as you discern options, even just explore the landscape of graduate education, I would certainly welcome an email from you in my inbox.
Well, thank you, Mandy. I really appreciate you coming on behalf of the North Carolina Society of Certified Public Managers. It's a really delight to partner with you and with NC State and to be collaborating with the MPA program there. And we'll look forward to future collaboration as well.
Absolutely. We look forward to being included again, but thank y'all so much.
So this will be recorded